All right, so now we are on lesson 4. So just kind of going back, make sure that you have seen the mole map overview. We did the easier conversions. The ones we're about to do involve really big numbers. I'm going to do lesson 4, and then I'll do, just like I did with the last one, I'm going to do a kind of a bonus how to go in the opposite direction if you so need it. Most of the time, once you get the pattern of how to go one way, you really don't need the opposite direction. Again, all this information is in chapter 7 of your book. So first, let's look at our mole map. Our mole map talks about mass, moles, volume of a gas, representative particles. Representative particles are individual atoms, ions, molecules, and we actually can add the word here, formula units. Typically speaking, just so that you guys have an idea, when something is a covalent compound, we use the word molecule. If we're talking about a bunch of atoms joined together, like say water. But if we're talking about table salt, we actually technically aren't supposed to say molecule, and instead, so for ionic compounds, we tend to say formula unit. So you'll see both of those words used regularly. All right, so the problem that we're working on today, how many formula units are in 3.724 moles of lead carbonate, lead 4 carbonate. Again, we're using the same substance just because it makes it easier, but we want to first talk about what we know. So we know that we have this many moles of this substance, okay? That's our known, and we are trying to find the number. I don't know how I lose that pen every time, but I do. We're going to talk about the number of formula units. So our known is moles, and our unknown is representative particles. This is important because we need to take the B root and not the A root. If you take the A root to find B, you will never get there. You will always get the wrong answer. The B conversion factor, just taking a quick look at it, is called Avogadro's number. Chemists, as I've told you before, where they tend to be very narcissistic, I guess is the word. And so things get named after themselves. Avogadro, scientists decided to name it after him because he found out some other stuff that was really, really important. And we'll learn about that later. And what he found in that led to this understanding. So that's where we are. So first and foremost, with any problem that we do, we have to write down our knowns. So our known is 3.724 moles of PB, parentheses, CO3, close parentheses, 2. And we're going to give that a nice little yellow sticky, just like the last time. And our unknown here is the number of formula units. Sometimes people abbreviate that F.U. As long as you're being appropriate, I really don't have a problem with you doing that. Conversion factor. We're going to look back at our thingy here. And we need root B. That's really important. So we're going from moles to rep particles. And we need root B, which in this case is going to be our orange root. And that is 6.023 times 10 to the 23rd. It says rep particles of X is equal to 1 mole of X. we're going to make some changes to this. 6.02. Actually, your paper doesn't say 23, it just says 2. Times 10 to the 23rd formula units of PB, parentheses, CO3, close parentheses, 2 equals 1 mole of PB, parentheses, CO3, close parentheses, 2. That is our conversion factor. And we're going to label that B. And then we're going to set things up just like normal. Now, this is where it's really important to have a scientific calculator, because if you use your cell phone or something for this, you can actually make a lot of mistakes and wind up with wrong answers. So just keep that in mind. If you're using a cell phone, there's a really good chance that as time goes on, you'll wind up with more and more wrong answers. So here is where we're going to put our known, because our known always goes in the first block, and it almost always will go at just the top. When you get into physics and a couple later things in chemistry, sometimes it actually will involve the bottom, but not for now. Then here, we're going to put our B. And we're going to wind up with just filling in our numbers. 3.724 moles. At the bottom, 6. Oh, let's talk about what goes at the bottom. I want you to take your guess. Does the 6.02 times 10 to the 23rd formula units go there? Or does the 1 mole go there? Take a second. Pause. Make your guess. Write it in pencil. And then unpause. Now, if you were paying attention to me and not actually thinking, you would have put that 6 right there. But that's because you have to think. Chemistry is all about problem solving and thinking. So this mole here is at the top, which means we need 1 mole of PB CO3 2 at the bottom, which means this very large number goes at the top. Which means that we're actually just going to multiply these two numbers together. There are a lot less mistakes when we are multiplying than when division comes into place. So 3.72 times. And again, you have to learn how to use your individual calculator to figure out whether you're using the right method. My suggestion to you is to try to do these problems that we're doing together and then use your calculator in both ways to see which one is giving you the right answer, and that will kind of help you to figure out which way to do this. This is actually not my normal calculator that I use, so I'm kind of messing some things up. 6.02. Other note, I would always put this in parentheses, especially if you are not using the EXP button on your calculator. It just solves a lot of different issues. If you're using the EXP button or the EE button on your calculator, you don't have to do that. the answer that I am getting in my calculator is 2.23944 times 10 to the 24th from the units of PB parentheses CO3 close parentheses 2. And again, this is already in scientific notation because it's a big number, so we don't have to do that. Sig figs, we do need to consider that. This had 4, but this only had 3. So we're going to make sure our final answer is 3, which means we need to look at this here. Focus on that digit that says round up. I know the last 3 problems, we all round up, but make sure that you're double checking because sometimes you will need to actually round down. Or, I guess,